Victim advocates from Thornton and Adams County help New York families. The city takes action to keep terrorists away from city water. And one of Thornton's finest gets national recognition. By now, these are images that all of us have seen at least once. Images of destruction, of pain, and of sadness. Dealing with the emotions that have come after the events of September 11th is difficult for people all over the United States. But for the people who lost a loved one in the tragedy, moving on with life's simplest of details has become a monumental effort. After September 11th, tens of thousands of people who lost family members needed help getting on with their lives. Members of Adams County's crisis team were called to bring their skills to New York to help the many victims of the terrorist attack.
Probably my first reaction was, oh my goodness, when we trained for this and put this team together, in my wildest imagination I thought worst case scenario would be a school shooting or something. Never did I imagine that I would be responding to something of this magnitude. And I probably was very afraid that I wouldn't be up to the challenge. You know, will my skills carry me through? Will I be able to touch people's lives in a meaningful way and come back intact myself?
Fear didn't stop the members of this crisis team. When the National Organization for Victims Assistance, known as NOVA, called, the team responded to the challenge. Team members took on difficult assignments, even escorting family members of victims to Ground Zero to see where their loved ones had lost their lives.
The way NOVA set it up was that each family would have a companion and a mental health worker be assigned to each family. So then it was our job to be with the family when they arrived at Liberty Park. We sat and we'd eat lunch with them and just kind of talk about how things have been going for them. And then we'd go through a briefing process of what they can anticipate seeing, what some of the reactions will be, so on and so forth as a group. And then we'd get on the ferry and ride the ferry from Liberty Park over to Ground Zero.
Yeah, I walked away saying that New Yorkers are very courageous and brave because the planes still fly over and they look, you know, and the sirens still go off and they start looking around, but they are bound and determined they are going to move on in life, they're going to go to work, they're going to react normally, they're going to go to restaurants. I heard people who consciously are going to ethnic restaurants because they wanted to make that kind of a statement, and there's lots of them in New York, and I just found, to me that just represented a lot of courage and a lot of bravery.
Members of the crisis team were also touched by the courageous dedication of the people working day after day at Ground Zero.
You have to understand, they're working by a mass grave every day with all the sights and smells and sounds that come with cleaning up a mass grave site. And they're very resilient and they are functioning, but my sense is they haven't defined what a new normal is for the city.
But with help from the people on the Adams County crisis team and others like them, New Yorkers are finding ways to carry on with their lives.
There's no doubt that the events of September the 11th changed the world. The far-reaching effects had significant impacts on the ways cities throughout the United States operate. Security scenarios that once may have seemed far-fetched and unnecessary were suddenly made legitimate. The city of Thornton responded immediately to one of the public's biggest concerns, a safe water supply.
Well, subsequent to the occurrences of September 11th, The city's taken the security issues around our facilities very seriously, in that we've had a lockdown of all of our major facilities, including the treatment plants and our raw water and finished water facilities.
One of the biggest terrorism concerns has always been an attack on the nation's water supplies, an effort to contaminate water that would eventually reach the general population of major metropolitan areas.
The city has taken a number of measures to ensure public trust in the water system, in that we've implemented a number of security patrols, both during the daylight hours and after hours, at various times throughout the day and night at all of our facilities. We've installed additional lighting, motion detectors, and other equipment to indicate intrusion to any of our facilities that would alert the police department and our 24-hour plant operators of any breach in security or tampering with the water supply.
Thornton has several locations where water is stored. Each one presents its own security concerns. The Infrastructure Department has devised plans to ensure that each location remains safe and secure.
Some of those things we have identified most of our facilities and how vulnerable we are. We went around and done some security assessments, and with the cooperation of other departments within the Infrastructure Department, we've been able to meet those needs, and I feel take the adequate necessary measures to at least have confidence in our water supply, and that the citizens can be assured that Thornton is serious about taking measures to protect the public water system.
Along with the measures the city has taken to secure water storage sites, the city also conducts laboratory tests on the quality of the city's water. Some of these tests are performed continually.
We've also taken measures from a water quality parameter area, in that we've increased the chlorine. We're doing more additional water quality monitoring and testing to ensure that the water is safe and that it meets all the standards.
Residents should know that the City of Thornton's different departments are working together to keep the city's water supply safe and put people's minds at ease.
We're very diligent in securing our facilities to make sure that the public can have confidence in its water supply.
With the national recession and downturn in the state economy, jobs are harder to come by these days. But the city of Thornton has good news for people anxious to find a job. The city is sponsoring a job fair with dozens of jobs to offer.
Yes, in almost every department, from lifeguarding to planting flowers for parks, mowing lawns. It's a very large variety.
Lots of jobs will be available with Thornton's Recreation Department. Here you might work in one of several positions within the Margaret W. Carpenter Recreation Center. The city's Parks Department will have lots of full-time and seasonal jobs to offer as well.
The job fair will be held on Saturday, March 9th from 10 to 3 o'clock. Come with references, be ready to apply and be interviewed on the spot that very day. We'll be interviewing all day until 3 o'clock.
This is no ordinary tourist in our nation's capital. In fact, she's one of Thornton's finest, and she made this visit to Washington, D.C. to receive a very special honor. Thornton Police Lieutenant Lori Moriarty was named National Drug Task Force Commander of the Year, a very prestigious award presented by the Office of the President of the United States.
I guess it just made it that much more real that it was a national award for all of us, and that it wasn't just the state of Colorado or hideout region as far as Utah and Wyoming. I mean, it was the nation. And so when you get to go to the nation's capital to receive it, it just kind of makes it that much more overwhelming.
In order to receive the national award, Lieutenant Moriarty first had to win another award, the Regional Commander of the Year award.
Larry is the commander of the Metro North Task Force and has been designated as the Outstanding Rocky Mountain Hideout Task Force Commander.
Yeah, to get a regional award in know who your peers are that you're up against and have that admiration for what they've done, then it makes you feel pretty good when they recognize you as the Commander of the Year.
Lori Moriarty's recognition is a result of hard work and her design of innovative programs. She spearheaded training to teach law officers and emergency personnel throughout the state the proper and safest ways to respond to crime scenes where toxic methamphetamine labs have been in operation.
Well, the number of methamphetamine labs that are popping up within the communities are so dangerous to the public that we've really made them a number one priority for the safety of the citizens in each of our communities that we work for. And that alone puts a large strain on a unit when you have, you know, for example, last year in January, we had 5 meth labs for the month. This year, 2002 year to date, it's been a week in January and we've had 5. So it's a lot of strain, it's a lot of hard work, it's a lot of hours, but you remind yourself that it's for the safety of the community, and that's the reward. That's the best part that comes from this, is that it's a safety issue for everybody in our community, and we have to take care of safety issues.
Lieutenant Moriarty also played an active role with Thornton's Communication Division and the Greater Metro Telecommunications Consortium in production of a half-hour documentary about the problems meth labs are presenting to cities in our state. The program was simulcast throughout the metro area in December.
Basically since we've put out the hidden threat, the rapid rise in meth labs, and actually had that on all the local channels throughout the state, we've received a lot of calls from family members, citizens in the community that maybe think one of their neighbors is manufacturing methamphetamine. So when they're watching a local channel, Channel 8, through the Greater Metro Telecommunications Consortium that helped us put this together, when you start seeing that people are watching the local channels and then reporting it to the police, we're now branching out into a very large audience. And that makes us feel good too, because with public awareness, I think as a state and as citizens in the state, we can do more for all of the communities that we live in.
Moriarty and members of her team on the North Metro Task Force have played an influential role educating state legislators about the growing meth problem in Colorado. Moriarty and other law enforcement officials recently appeared with Governor Bill Owens to announce the governor's new plan to make it harder for people who make methamphetamine to get the chemicals they use to make their drug.
We've been trying to get laws passed in Colorado now for about 3 years, and sometimes I think just public awareness can help that, just because if we don't understand what some of our problems are within our communities, we don't know how to tackle the issues. And so being up there actually with the governor and having him recognize that in order for Colorado not to become a hazardous waste dump site, we need to make some changes, and we need to put some stricter penalties on those who choose to manufacture methamphetamine and create a hazardous waste for all of us.
Thanks to the work Lieutenant Moriarty is doing, Thornton's police department is making its presence felt on the national stage, bringing much-deserved recognition and prestige.
The response that I've received from the chiefs of police that are my supervisors has been very positive. They're pleased. They're happy with the efforts that the North Metro Task Force has put out, and it's a great recognition for all of us when you're up against people from California and Florida, and Texas, some of the places that border drug dealing coming in across the Mexican borders and Cuba. And then we're in the middle of the state, in Colorado, and you receive this type of recognition. I think it was a way of saying that we're as serious at fighting drugs as all of them are. And so our citizens in our community should be pleased with the fact that we have this kind of recognition, that we take it as serious as those on the border.
There's no doubt that Colorado winters bring frigid temperatures. The biting cold keeps most of us indoors. But eventually, we have to venture out, and many of us have old habits we use to make the trip as warm as possible. This is a common scene throughout the state. People trying to let their cars warm up before they get in to drive them. A but there's something people need to know about this.
Well, first and foremost, it's against the law to leave your car warming up. In the state of Colorado, there is a statute that says you can't leave your car unattended while it's running.
Idling cars also put out a lot of air pollution. Another good reason not to start your car to let it warm up. But the best reason not to start your car and then leave it unattended is because you might come back to get in the car and it might be gone.
It's just dangerous. It's an open invitation for somebody to jump in your car and take off. And what if you have a child in there waiting for you? Any kind of packages that you may have, the car is just gone.
So, as uncomfortable as it might be, obey the law and start your car only when you are going to stay in it and drive.
With the cold winter months coming on, that's when we see the increase of not only people leaving their cars warming up, but people that don't have rides to places, people that don't have a home. A nice warm car makes a good home. So generally, auto thefts do increase more in the winter months.
What do you do? Your child is sick and is running a high fever. Most of us would call and make an appointment to see a doctor. But what about people who may not have insurance and can't afford to pay for a doctor's visit? The City of Thornton believes everyone should be able to see a doctor when they're sick. That's why the city created a partnership with local medical professionals and healthcare providers. The group is called Community Partnerships for Health. The Health Coalition conducted a citizen health survey in 1999 that identified a need for low-cost health care in Thornton. This effort has led to the opening of a new health clinic in original Thornton. Clinica Campesina opened its doors last fall to offer low-cost healthcare services to the public. Medical fees are charged on a sliding scale based on a family's income level. For families at the poverty level, it only costs $5 for a doctor's visit.
Well, this is our newest Clinica Campesina. We opened on, I think, August 24th. It's very busy already. As you know, this is actually a clinic that was over in North Glen, and we pretty much picked up those operations that were in a rented facility and brought them into this facility.
The clinic expects to handle 20,000 patient visits each year. The Thornton Clinic serves about 270 people a week and is now accepting new patients. Most people going to the clinic have no health insurance, and others are on government-funded health programs. The clinic offers medical services for people of all ages. Doctors see patients when they are sick, for prenatal pregnancy care, and to monitor people with chronic diseases such as diabetes or hypertension. Healthy infants are seen for regular checkups as part of their well baby preventative care and for immunizations. The clinic specializes in providing care to Spanish-speaking patients. Nearly all of the personnel at the clinic speak Spanish. Thornton's Clinica Campesina is located in the Thornton Shopping Center just southeast of Washington Street and Russell Boulevard. The inside of the clinic has been renovated and painted in warm, inviting colors. There is even a play structure in the lobby for kids to have fun at the doctor's office. Clinica Campesina staff is committed to making sure patients won't wait a long time to see a doctor if they have an appointment. The clinic has been designed for patient comfort and convenience. It is both appealing and functional. Once a patient is escorted into a room to see a doctor, it's the one and only stop they'll have to make. In this one room, patients see a nurse and the doctor, make payments for services, and see a social worker if necessary. Clinic staff members use a color coding system to assure patients receive care promptly. When a patient is waiting in an exam room to see a doctor, a colored flag is displayed next to the exam room door. When the patient needs to talk to a caseworker or see an accountant to pay for the visit, other colors are displayed to alert those staff members. Federal government funding, as well as grants from philanthropic and medical foundations, finance the medical clinic.
This clinic was really made possible when Congress added some money to the Community Health Center program, which is our federal funding program, back in 1999. And we got a grant from the Department of Health and Human Services, Bureau of Primary Health Care, in '99 for $500,000 a year to support a larger clinic.
How important is it to be healthy? For most of us, it is essential to our well-being. The medical services provided by Clinica Campesina are sure to enhance the overall health of citizens in Thornton. Here's to a healthier community. To make a doctor's appointment at Clinica Campesina in Thornton, call 720-929-1655.
There were many memorable events in Thornton during 2001. It was a year full of happy moments, as well as ones that touched our hearts in new ways. Let's take a look back at the important events in Thornton in 2001. In May, the 2001 Thornton Fest was the biggest ever, with over 20,000 people enjoying all that this yearly festival has to offer. As always, the food and rides were a big hit. Thornton Fest seems to grow bigger every year, so start getting ready for this event now. The Recreation Center, one of the city's most popular facilities, was rededicated on July the 4th. City leaders wanted to recognize the service of longtime Thornton Mayor Margaret Carpenter. So now, when you decide to go swimming or exercise, you'll be entering the Margaret W. Carpenter Recreation Center. City volunteerism was at an all-time high in 2001. The annual paint-a-thon helped more families than ever before, with 160 volunteers working 2 Saturdays in a row to spruce up the outside of homes for 13 families. Volunteers also made the city's holiday giving campaigns a huge success. City employees and community members adopted 24 families during the Christmas season Adopt-A-Family program. And the police department's Christmas Crusade for Children provided gifts for 631 children in 246 families. The events of September the 11th touched every American. In Thornton, people gathered at the multipurpose fields near the rec center for a United We Stand rally. Patriotism was on full display with flags everywhere and speeches that renewed our spirits.
The last few days we have felt a need in the community to come together as a community and to unite and bond as a community. This has been a tragic event. May it never happen again. I would like to leave you with a quote from a great president, John F. Kennedy. He said, "In the long history of the world, only a few generations have been granted the role of defending freedom in its hour of maximum danger. We do not shrink from this responsibility. We welcome it."
In October, the city dedicated 5 new sculptures, located in parks in each of the city's 4 wards and in front of the Civic Center. In November, 4 new people were voted into seats on Thornton City Council. And in December, Thornton police officer Lori Moriarty was recognized as the best drug task force commander in the entire nation. Moriarty is the leader of the North Metro Drug Task Force. The year wrapped up with a special visit by Santa Claus, who pulled up in front of the Civic Center in his sleigh, pulled by 2 reindeer. Santa helped Mayor Busk turn on the city's holiday light display. And that's Inside Thornton's look back at the year 2001.